It was weird.
Yeah.
I still enjoyed it. It was still a good time,
Oh
you
yeah.
know. But just
It's different
with
times.
London in September was crazy. London in September was crazy. Heated. New York is definitely behind London, that's for sure.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, thank you all for making the effort to be here tonight. And we have 3 weeks left in the program. So I just wanted to check in with everybody. And I've got 4 questions for you all tonight. And I'm going to work my way around in order from who showed up first. For no particular reason, but we're going to get around to everyone. And the four questions I have for you is one thing you are grateful for. What do you want to get out of the last 3 weeks of the program? What do you think might prevent that? And how can I help with that? So yeah, to kick things off, we'll go to Melvin.
All right.
Cool. So yeah, first, just what are you grateful for?
Just broadly speaking, just health in general.
Anything you want.
Yeah, no, that's what it will be. All things considered, just my health.
Your health.
Yeah, overall, yeah, I'm with everything going on with a lot of issues people facing. I'm overall healthy, so I'm definitely appreciative of that. Please forgive me if you could reel off the other 3 questions. Just once again.
Yeah, of course I will. All right, so what do you want to get out of the last 3 weeks of the Athlete Mobility Blueprint?
Yeah, sure. For me, for the last 3 weeks is fine tuning and picking up some additional. I wouldn't say maybe necessarily movements to continue to add to the arsenal of things you've already provided.
Yeah. Awesome. And what do you think might prevent that from happening?
Only time. Truly, just dealing with other things from a priority perspective right now would be the only thing I could consider being a blocker.
Okay. And how do you think I can help? And not even just me, but maybe even everyone in this group can help overcome that.
Well, that's fair. I guess in essence, hearing everyone else's, ways that they manage, their workload, time management, how they incorporate things, just so I can maybe pick up on some other things from there. And I would just say maybe just, for the remaining 3 weeks, considerable encouragement just to continue on. And then from your perspective, just truly maybe just checking in. And obviously, for myself, just traveling last week, getting back to the one-on-ones would be extremely helpful as well. But that's just been just two other complications.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm curious. You may have noticed that you've had some weeks that have gone better and some weeks that haven't gone as well throughout this program in terms of how much time you've spent on mobility stuff. So if you could reflect, what do you think led to certain weeks being more successful than others for you?
Sure. No, being open and honest is prioritizing it. But I also think too, when I'm consistently in the gym, there's that structure there, I guess you would say. There's a need for it mentally because of what I just done physically. And if, breaking up that routine, because I'm very much a routine type of individual, I would then find, loss, and it would not become a priority, and other things will pop up and have popped up. So I think in essence, having structure and a routine is extremely helpful. Traveling was extremely difficult to focus on because there's so many other things going on, and trying to make that a priority last week was extremely difficult. But I did notice when, either I was doing a lot of driving and feeling stiff, I definitely felt the time because physically I felt it and knew what to do. And took some time out to do that before, even if it was late at night.
That's great. Well done on that. So my final question would be, what can you do to prioritize going to the gym, which is then going to spur you on to do this mobility stuff this week?
I think probably more so it's my schedule, just scheduling it in. things have changed just at home, just in regards of, work times and what have you. So I think in essence, I use everything else in my calendar to keep me on top of things. So I think in essence, that being in my calendar, as well as the mobility aspect being in my calendar as well, to break up my day, which I know is one of the recommendations from our call a few weeks ago. And so that's something I do have to incorporate, because then
Cool.
easier to stay on top.
All right. So what I'd like you to do, you can do it right now, or you can do it right after the call. I want you to put a time in your calendar where you're gonna actually schedule things. So, yeah, if you don't have time tonight to like schedule everything out, literally like say, okay, at 12 o'clock tomorrow, that's when I'm gonna schedule my workouts and my mobility for the next week.
Sounds good.
Cool. All right. Does anyone else have any words of advice or reflections for Melvin? All right, cool. Okay, Brad, moving on to yourself. So one thing that you're grateful for, and yeah, there we go.
One thing I'm grateful, all right, so obviously, Mel, the most common thing for everyone will probably be health, but one thing I'm grateful for is my increased mobility that I've gotten out of this course. I definitely find, like Mel, that when I travel, I don't do things, instead of my body getting looser, it gets tighter. And obviously from working out, we get tight, but I definitely found that if I'm not actually getting to the gym, using my muscles, they get shorter, not longer, which I've noticed. And I think I mentioned that to you a couple of times. So I've enjoyed the course, and I'm happy to get back into it, even though, like Mel, I've been traveling too. I did 1 or 2 cars, but not more than that, honestly. My advice to Mel would be, I do my cars in weird places. So I was doing my shoulder cars in the shower, because I figured that was a break. I was sharing a room with my 2 kids. So that worked. I did my shoulder plate cars in the shower too, for what it's worth. Not very exciting, but it didn't mean that I got them done. So I definitely try to work them in different ways. What's my goal for the next 3 weeks? So I really liked how the deep squat, I've always been holding on to a pole or stick or something to keep me upright. But I don't find the 3 minutes as being horrible to me anymore. Like 2 minutes felt like, oh my God, like an hour. 3 minutes doesn't feel bad now, but I still hold on. So my goal would be, is to either do the 3 minute deep squat, not holding on to anything for the whole 3 minutes, or at least doing 2/3 not holding on, 1/3 holding on. So that would be my my goal for this. Also, always improving my shoulder mobility, which I think is improving anyway. But yeah, the deep squat bit would be great. That would be definitely
awesome. And what do you think might prevent you from progressing towards that?
Not making excuses. So I just, life is busy. I'm a hard ass. It's just get out of bed, get out of the TV, and just do it, really. Because at the end of the day, it's 3 minutes. We can do most things for 3 minutes. And so even like the sitting on the floor with crossed legs, I work when I do that. So I put Monday Night Football on the other day. So if you can multitask, in my mind, just don't make excuses of being tired or being too busy, because I did that, I wouldn't do anything. So, yeah, just sucking it up, basically. Being a hard ass. Sorry.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, that's definitely a mentality that works for some people.
Yeah. I need a kick in the ass personally, so that's me.
Okay. Is there what do you think could possibly come up that would lead you to make excuses? Is there anything you could think of?
Yeah, my new promotion.
Okay. Congratulations on that.
Because I was busy before. Now I'm fucking busier.
Right.
No, not really, because to me, it is just tiredness for me. It's like Mel said, it's I have to be able to do more than one thing at once, so I literally do the deep squat with my iPhone between my legs, reading an email. That's probably one reason why it goes quickly, because I'm probably thinking about the whole email than I'm thinking about the pain. But it's the multitask for me. If it was one thing at a time, I'd probably struggle at it, but if it's two things, I'm okay. So it's making the time, but just doing two things at once helps me.
Great. Okay, so one thing I'd like you to do this week is when you feel tired and you're like, oh, I really don't want to do this deep squat, but then you give yourself that little pep talk that you do, suck it up, buttercup, as you like to say.
It is a suck it up, buttercup, you're right.
When that happens this week, I want you to post that in the wins channel.
All right, definitely. I can do
Cool.
that. I think, and so you mentioned the one question you didn't ask me, but I'm going to put you on the spot. What can you do to help?
Yep.
It's reminding me to do the cars I don't like doing, which I know they're fucking important to me. So the hips cars, I suck at those, honestly. I have no idea if I still do the elbow card or knee card properly. Hand one is easy because you can do that walking down the street. So I do walking down the street. I probably look weird doing it. Shorter ones I have no problem doing. Hip one obviously is very important. So reminding me to do the ones we don't like, do it. Or the horrible shoulder homework you gave me on the yoga block. Doing the sucky
Awesome.
ones. That's my reminder for you to me.
All right, I'll do that. All right. Thanks, Brad.
Thank you.
Okay. Anyone want to comment on anything with Brad? Cool. All right, Birdie, you're next.
Yeah, so the first question is, what am I grateful for? I guess it's
Yeah.
relief from pain, and then general good health, as everyone else seems to be saying. That'd be my answer for the first one.
Yeah,
what's the second question again?
Yeah, just before you get to the second one, can you expand a bit on what pain you were experiencing before and how it's changed?
Right. So I had slipped lower discs in my, I can't remember what, lower lumbar, I guess you can say. And through mobility, it's relieving the tension in my lower back and relieving pain that is actually goes down my left leg constantly. It's no longer constant. It flares up maybe once a week, occasionally. So that's what I'm grateful for, not constantly being in pain down my left leg.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So the second question is, what do you want to get out of the last 3 weeks?
I guess for me, what I want to get out of the last few weeks is making sure that I stay on a path to have no pain whatsoever. And by doing that, I mean, by me completing it, I guess, and following through with everything, I'll be able to do that, I would hope.
Great. And what do you think might prevent you from working towards that?
Similar to Brad, I guess time and excuses.
Mm-hmm.
So it's finding the time and not making an excuse because I'm tired or I have something else to do and not doing it.
Right. So similar question that I asked Melvin. When you've been, those times when you've been more consistent, what do you think has been responsible for that over the last 5 weeks?
I would say just holding myself accountable in a sense of, like, similar to Melvin, is making sure I do it by scheduling it, or making sure I don't just work out and not do the mobility, is joining those together. So when I work out, to do my mobility with that and cars and all the exercises.
And do you have mobility scheduled currently in your calendar?
I do not.
Okay, cool.
But I should just add it to when I work out in the mornings, which I'm going to try and do this week.
Okay. Yeah, so I guess similar to Melvin, I think it'd be helpful for you to schedule a time to schedule your week.
Sure.
And keep in mind that if you're going to do the mobility as well as the workout, you're probably going to need a little bit longer. Because I know if we're short on time and we want to get a workout out in, that mobility might be the thing that falls by the wayside. So yeah.
Agreed.
And how can I help, and how can this group help you these last 3 weeks?
How can you help? I mean, I guess by seeing the progression in our session tomorrow, you'll see if I've actually made any improvements by if I've been doing my exercises enough, which I potentially haven't, so you might not see as much progression as you'd expect to see. But I guess by you giving me advice or criticism on my ability as we find out tomorrow if there's an improvement.
Cool. Yeah. So yeah, we can reassess stuff tomorrow.
Cool.
All right. Thanks, Birdie. Anyone have anything to add or help out with Birdie or comment? Okay. All right. I can't remember who is next, but let's go to Tracy.
Hi,
Hey,
good evening,
Tracy.
everybody. So I guess my answer is very consistent with everyone else's. Very thankful for health. And I am starting to feel a lot better, less stiff. So I'm thankful for that. I can't remember what the other questions are.
Yeah, no worries. Can you just expand a bit about how you feel less stiff? So like, what did you feel like before, and how do you feel now?
Yeah,
Sorry, 1 second.
so my hamstrings and lower back were always tight. They're actually still tight now, but not as tight as they have been. And so my mobility and my range of motion are starting to get better when I prioritize my mobility work. I think I am not dissimilar to others on the call, where I will make my PT a priority, but not necessarily my mobility work. And so that is a struggle for me. I have it scheduled in my calendar 6:30 every morning, and I look at the reminder and I'm like, got to get up and go to work now. So for me, I've struggled with planning and prioritizing the mobility work. And the issue is that when I actually do the mobility work, I feel so much better. And I just wish my brain would make the connection that this is good for me. I had a very difficult week last week. It was very busy, long hours, early mornings, late nights, and I just couldn't find time to do like normal stuff. So it's about planning a little bit better for me and making this mobility work a priority, and then not being so hard on myself, because there are things that I could have put in the wins chat that I didn't, but it was because I didn't do all of my cars, or because I didn't do X, Y, and Z, where I felt like, well, nobody's really going to care about whether or not I did this little piece of whatever. So a lot of it's in my head, frankly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, what I'd say is sometimes the smallest steps and actions can actually be the biggest wins, because sometimes in life things are easy and we get on a roll with things and we start doing our mobility all the time, and then our workouts feel great and we start hitting personal records, and sometimes life just flows, and then other times we can get stuck and we get busy, and then we miss out on a workout, and then we're in a bad mood, and then we don't want to do our mobility. So when we're in that downward spiral, even taking just a tiny step can actually be a huge win and start to put us back in the direction that we want to go. So yeah, I always emphasize to people, really celebrate even those tiniest wins. And the great thing about sharing it with all of us here is that it makes you feel even happier and even better, when we all support each other and we get those comments and those emojis that we share with each other. So yeah, thanks for sharing on that. So what would you like to get out of the last 3 weeks?
Just some better tools around being a little bit more consistent with the mobility work. You're very supportive, but really just to help me build some accountability into my day to get this stuff done.
Okay, cool.
It's a lot. It feels like a lot.
Yeah.
It actually feels very overwhelming, to be honest. It's a lot to do. And like Brad, a hip car is a hot mess for me. So
Right.
I know I don't do them right. So I actually worry about not doing some of them correctly still. So
Okay. So if things are feeling a bit overwhelming, what I'd like you to try is, so obviously I've given you quite a lot of homework to do. We can have a discussion about it. I'm seeing you tomorrow morning, right?
yes.
Yeah. But we can prioritize the most important things. So you have less things to do, but then it doesn't seem so overwhelming, because obviously in a perfect world, we would do everything all the time. But
Right.
if we have this all or nothing mindset where it's like, okay, well, I can't do all of this, so I'm just going to do none of it. That can definitely be self-destructive. So yeah, we can discuss it tomorrow. And yeah, like we talked about in the call with Taylor, just creating those tiny habits. So just doing something for 1 minute to begin with. And if you need to go back to work, or you just don't feel like continuing, that's fine. At least you did a minute. But maybe after that minute, you're going to want to do a little bit more. But yeah, also definitely don't be so hard on yourself. Yeah, it's definitely difficult times, with work and COVID and everything. Okay, so what I want to go back to, so you mentioned you have it in your calendar to do your mobility at 6:30 every morning, but then you end up just skipping it and going to work.
Yeah, getting ready for work.
Do you need more time to get ready for work, or is it just that you don't really feel like doing the mobility at that time in the morning?
It's a combination of both, to be
Okay.
honest. I think if I'm going to be, I think the time that I'm setting for the mobility is not realistic. I probably need to do it earlier.
Okay.
6:30 is probably a little bit too late. It should be 6. In an ideal world, if I got up at 6 and focused that time on doing my mobility work by 6:30, that I don't need any more time than that.
Okay. And is it realistic for you to get up at 6? Will you have had enough sleep and have enough energy?
I'm usually up at 6 anyway.
Okay.
It's motivation, I think, at that point.
Okay.
And because I'm in the house, because I'm by myself, there is no David, there is no one making me accountable for my nonsense. I'm like, oh, I can probably do something for 50. I will always, because of the type of person that I am, I'm probably always going to find something else instead of making myself the priority. And I still am constantly working on that piece of my character, to be honest, from personality.
Yeah, thank you so much for being honest. And my next question would be, what do you do from 6 to 6:30 instead of the mobility?
I'm up, I'm tootling around. It just depends. Like if there's stuff that I need to do, I'll do that. Thinking about breakfast, prepping for the day, shower, like it could be anything. There is no set pattern for me. I'm really just trying to sort of organize myself both physically and mentally for the day. I tend to look
Okay.
at work. I tend to look at work stuff, and I think it's the work stuff that tends to derail me, to be honest.
Okay.
So as
I'm
I'm
gonna-
saying this out loud, I I definitely know where I can make some adjustments, to be honest.
Mhm. Yeah, that's great, and that's partly why I'm having this call. So I've got two options that I'd like to suggest to you. One is going to be you're not allowed to look at your work emails until 6:30. So that's going to give you at least half an hour.
Mhm.
So that's one idea I have. And then the second idea would be, so once you get up, I don't know if you have like your coffee first thing or go to the bathroom or whatever, just spend 1 minute on mobility
Okay,
when you first wake up. Before you do, yeah, before you can check your work emails, let's say. Yeah.
okay,
And after that 1 minute, if you're like, man, I'm just really not feeling it this morning, then that's fine. Just move on. But maybe after that 1 minute, you're gonna feel good and you're gonna continue. So, and I want you to post that in the Wins channel. If
Okay.
you just do that 1 minute in the morning, post it in the Wins channel.
okay.
Cool. So anything else I can do to help before over these last 3 weeks?
No, just that, holding me accountable to my nonsense.
All right. Okay, cool. All right, thanks so much, Tracy.
Thank you.
All right, let's go to Robbie.
Yo,
Hey, Robbie.
hi.
Okay.
Well, what am I grateful for? It has to be health. Basically, as you know, David, I went away to the US to go and visit my kids, and within 2 days, I was hit by COVID. So that completely scuppered me. Fell off the wagon big time, in respect of that. And just if I can skip forward into what can scupper me in terms of a commitment, a program, one, it will be a complete change. So as Brad said, when I travel, and then my focus, my sort of dedicated focus changes from my life to being with my children. And then you add in another component, which is some difficulty like illness or something like that, then everything capitulates in terms of all those commitments. And then it's almost like I then become resigned to the fact that, okay, it's capitulated, let's just get through this. And then when we're in a better place, we can get back on the wagon, right? Get back on the horse. So that was a bit of a disaster. And then with 3 weeks left, obviously, my desire is to not only continue with the work, but really just catch up first. And so really my commitment is about getting into massive action. And I just realized something when you were talking, and you mentioned back about the session that we had with Taylor, which I found extremely valuable. And there is celebrate the victories that are small, right? So you set yourself up so that you can actually achieve that little thing, and then you can say, all right, yeah, I achieved it, and then anything is a bonus. But my issue is that I find committing to all these numerous small things, I find that more overwhelming than occupying all of that time by committing to, say, 3 or 4 major things in my life. Because when they're in large blocks as opposed to small snippets throughout the day, then obviously I can manage that so much better, because then it starts off with that one thing, the first thing that I'm going to do within that sort of genre. So in this case, let's call it exercise, right? So I took a break from CrossFit in order to deal with an injury which was recurring as a result of CrossFit, and also to because we attributed part of the cause of that to a lack of mobility. And like Bertie, I also had herniated disc in my low lumbar. So, you know, all of those things cause tension and sort of inhibit that mobility. So it's kind of like now I've decided, or I've realized that actually what I want to do is, rather than separating the two, is to bring the two back together, get back into CrossFit, commit to that, and as well as being there at the classes, then to schedule that time immediately before or after the classes to do some mobility work. And I believe I can manage that so much better than getting up in the morning and then, you know, brush my teeth and do this while I'm doing it, or, you know, trying to fit all those little things in. So there's something that I'm chewing on there about how to schedule and what works for me. The other thing that I haven't done in terms of, well, really, so what could scupper this is basically, it really boils down to a lack of commitment. Because when my commitment is huge, I succeed. But it's when it's kind of a little bit lukewarm, or there are other things that I sort of decide, oh, no, I'm going to commit to, I'm choosing to go and do that, then these things fall by the wayside. But ultimately, there's the self-accountability that I was lacking. So really what I'm going to do now is to create that program and create that structure and create that checklist. And then what I'm going to do is, each time that I do it, or, you know, at certain intervals, I'm just going to take a picture and post it in wins, because I need that accountability, not only from myself, but I also need your watchful eyes to sort of say, okay, great job. But if I haven't done it, I'm going to be completely honest, and you're going to see the gaps. And then it's like, well, what happened there? And I don't want to have those conversations. So that's going to motivate me a lot more. Yeah. So it's structure, it's blocking, it's combining with the fitness and all of that kind of stuff, and it's having that accountability, really.
Yeah.
I think those are the things.
Okay. So it sounds like you're really self-reflective and self-aware. So I think that's great, because it's definitely important to know ourselves and know what does and what doesn't work for us. So yeah, I think some people, it can definitely work where they're doing bits and bobs of mobility sort of throughout the day. But it's great that you recognize that you need to kind of block out maybe a larger period of time for yourself. And maybe, like some others are doing, tie that to the workout at CrossFit. So yeah, perhaps you can show up early to the gym, and that's when you get it done, or stay after the workout, whichever kind of works better for you. So I'm curious, why haven't you been committed as you would have liked to up until now? And how are you going to change that? Apart from obviously the kids and the being sick.
No, I think it just goes back to that whole thing about, if it's a small thing and therefore it seems achievable because it's a small thing, therefore my commitment to that small thing is actually less. I don't know, you know, maybe it's just a perception thing, but and so consequently, because it's a small thing, and in parentheses, you know, like subconsciously, I'm therefore less committed. It stands to reason that that's the first thing that's sort of going to drop out. And then it's really weird, because yes, you kind of can be kind to yourself and forgive yourself, and then you say, oh, darn it, I didn't do my cars this morning. All right, just get back on it tomorrow. But then what happens is, a few more times it happens, and then I've sort of missed more times doing it than I've actually achieved. And yeah, there are certain tools that you can do, like you say, scheduling. or setting an alarm, or then really making a commitment, say, I will not move on to the next thing until I've done that, unless of course it is an absolute mission critical activity where you have to, and then you just renegotiate your schedule, rearrange it. But it's just looking for the tools that mean that you're not going to fail at that, in those little moments.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what do you think those tools are going to be for you?
Alarms, reminders. Siri's quite good at kicking my butt, if I set her up right. But also that checklist kind of thing, which is going to tie into, the sort of the Outlook calendar or whatever it is. So I think I just need to put enough things in my environment that I'm not going to allow myself to forget or to let it slip or whatever the case. It's just going to be omnipresent. Do your mobility. Yeah.
Okay.
Theater done.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. And how can I help you with these last 3 weeks?
Just again, like rail on me, kick my butt if I haven't done it. But it's just about that accountability, like just asking the question, how are you getting on? Have you to check in? And but equally, I can make the commitment to check in with you at certain times and just say, yeah, I've done this, I've done that. And if I don't check in for whatever reason, then I would appreciate your commitment to then sort of say, hey, didn't get your check-in today. But we can, if you have the time for that, because of course, I appreciate that you're doing maybe this multitudinously, but I can also set something up with somebody else if they're willing to volunteer, which is just a check-in. Like by the end of the day, you're going to hear from Robbie who says, yeah, I did it today, and vice versa. It can be mutual accountability. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that idea. So, all right, guys, I would like a volunteer to be Robbie's mobility check-in buddy. All right, so we got Brad.
Yeah, and
Cool.
if they want the same reciprocated, then that's the way we can mutually make it successful.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So Robbie and Brad.
It's a match made in heaven.
Does anyone else want a mobility check-in buddy? Hands up. Nope. All right, no worries.
Got it.
Cool. Thanks, Robbie.
Alrighty, thank you.
Okay, let's go move on to Stefan.
Hello.
Hey.
Hello,
what's
good
up?
evening, everybody. What I am grateful for, just to be able to move the way that I move. The level of agility, I would say that I have now with what all I'm doing. I would say like one of my biggest challenges, which you would have known coming in, was my thoracic spine. So I would have usually feel like more pain in that area. And of course, from starting doing more mobility, it's still there, but it's a lot duller. I would say that it's still there because of the burden that I put my body through right now in terms of all of the training. But definitely the mobility was helping me to be a lot more agile in moving around with the BJJ. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
That's great to hear.
Mhm.
So what would you like to get out of the last 3 weeks of this program?
I would say pretty much in terms from your end, I would say that you're doing pretty good. Always checking up, making sure everything is all that is. It's just basically to be consistent with what I'm doing right now. But other than that, everything is going pretty good so far.
Cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd just like to mention to you and also to everyone else. So yeah, we had this mastermind call with a guy called Taylor Sleaford couple of weeks ago. So he's a life coach, personal development coach, and the call with him is recorded and it's up on the website. And I've also made notes of some of the key points that he made that you can read through. It's like a couple of pages. So yeah, there's that resource there for you and for everyone else.
Okay.
Yeah, if you'd like to go back and watch that.
That's sweet.
So what do you think might stop you from being consistent these last few weeks?
Well, I actually myself also was traveling a bit. I went over to New York, family trip, also meeting my father and some of my siblings. And then, of course, being in school, a lot of the programs still online. So that also, so even like with all the classes, you will realize that I wasn't able to like actually be there for the classes per se. Like I always had to do the classes on my own time.
Yeah.
But other than that, I would say that was my biggest issue. It's just a same thing with most people, just staying accountable and sticking true with all of the mobility sessions.
Okay, cool. So yeah, you haven't been able to make it to many of the classes in person. I'm just curious, how many of the classes have you made it to in your own time?
So in my own time, I did like 3 classes. What I do all the time, though, I always do my squats. Squat holds. Yeah, I always do my squat holds. Like every day I do my squat holds. Of course, because those types of things can play into my advantage, rolling and up. But yeah, like I did 3 classes. Was able to do 3 classes.
Okay, awesome. So yeah, there's 5 more classes now up on the website that you can do. Yeah, whenever you get a chance to.
Yeah.
Do you think that scheduling would be helpful for you?
Yeah. Scheduling mostly is a situation like later. I guess once I don't just drop sleep crash, because most of the time I just crash after I finish all of my work. So
right.
scheduling will help me more in terms of that.
So yeah, like I mentioned with Melvin, I think scheduling a time to actually schedule could also be helpful.
Okay.
Yeah, so maybe it could be like a regular weekly time. So it can be like a Sunday or a Saturday or even like a Monday morning, just whenever works for you. So you like spend 10 minutes just scheduling out the rest.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Is there any other way I can help you these last 3 weeks?
That's about it. I would say just maybe a more spine emphasis, same area like the ratchet. But like other than other areas, pretty solid.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've got obviously some more group classes left. So we're definitely going to do another one with more of a spine focus. And I'll make sure there's more T-spine stuff in there.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Stefan.
All right, no problem.
All right, guys. So just quickly to mention, it is 8:02. So thank you so much for your patience. If we've already been spoken to, like you're obviously free to go if you need to, or if you'd like to hang around, you're also welcome to do that. So yeah, thanks for waiting, guys. James, we'll go to you next.
Sure. I think main things I'm grateful for in terms of the program, I think probably the biggest thing is understanding some of the principles and I guess the theory behind mobility, because I think like other people here, I probably haven't been able to sort of fit it or schedule it as into my routine as much as I'd like to. But I think understanding the theory and the principles is something that kind of, lasts and stays with you. And it's something that you can fall back on when you have a problem. So I really enjoyed the sessions and some of the homework that was related to that. And then probably on a less boring note, I think handstand push-ups, doing those the other day for the first time was I really enjoyed that. It was really fun, and definitely something I don't think I would have been able to do before.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for sharing. So what would you like to get out of the last 3 weeks? Yeah, I think I asked you on Saturday, but yeah, we'll go through it again.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, I've been thinking a little bit as other people have been speaking as well, but I think any more like theory or any more videos on that, like I definitely lap those up.
Okay.
I think I guess one thing that did occur to me while I think it's maybe Rob who was speaking is that it would be maybe something that it's probably quite personalized, but a kind of a bigger move, like like an overhead squat in a position that you weren't able to get into before. Having a goal now is something that I might not be able to do in our next session, but something I can work towards by the end would be helpful.
Okay.
Just because then I think one thing about mobility is it's a little hard to sort of you feel better, but it's a little hard to measure it. And so having like a goal, like I can I don't know, do an overhead squat in a certain position, or I can get into this angle before and now I can, is something that would no, that motivates me, that kind of thing, I think.
All right, awesome. Yeah, I think it's definitely good to have those bigger, longer term goals that can kind of drive you and motivate you to do the little things, because that's what's going to lead to the longer term success. So what do you think might prevent you from getting the most out of these last 3 weeks?
I mean, for me, it's probably like a lot of the people I've had. As you know, I started a new job about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and that's just thrown a lot of uncertainty about how my routine is looking, and it's just thrown everything off. And I think probably similar things to other people have said, it just when a few other things get thrown into the mix, everything can get thrown off that isn't perceived as being essential. So yeah, that's been my biggest thing, I think, is just having a new job, being uncertain around when I'm going to be busy and when I'm not. And yeah, basically CrossFit's gone out the window. We've got lucky enough to have a gym in the office, but that's actually closed at the moment as well. So yeah, I just haven't been working out really. So I suppose maybe unlike some of the other people here, I did actually have a lot of success sort of scheduling, doing cars and things, because I would sort of stack them with my exercise. But now the exercise is gone, so is everything else.
Right.
So that's probably the biggest challenge, and that's going to be something that I'm still getting used to my new job, and I'm still trying to figure that out. So I have been thinking about that today. So I think one thing I'm going to do this evening is just try and work out a plan that has a bit of flexibility built into it. That means that I'm still working out, even when I don't, quite know how my days are going to be going and when deadlines are and things like that. So,
yeah. Okay. I'm curious. Are you busy with work on the weekends?
Sometimes, but not every weekend.
Okay. Yeah, because doing things more consistently can definitely be beneficial, but also sometimes when that's not as realistic, maybe taking time on the weekend where you block out a big chunk of time and spend a lot of time on mobility, I think could perhaps be also helpful. So I can kind of relate it to, say, training. So there's kind of different ways of getting stronger. So you could squat, say, 3 times a week at varying intensities. So you might have a lighter day, a medium day, and a heavy day. And the total volume on each session might be quite small, but it kind of adds up during the week. Or you could just say like, okay, Saturday, I'm going to do like heavy squats, lots and lots of volume. I'm going to spend loads of time on that. And they can both be effective in like getting stronger. So that can definitely be the case with mobility as well. So you can do like your 15 minutes each day, but then if you're finding you're crazy busy with your new job, if you just block out like an hour and a half on a weekend day, then that can also like have huge benefits. So yeah, that's just like a thought for you.
Yeah, that makes sense. You probably do.
Cool. So how can I help, or how can this group help you over these last 3 weeks?
I think like I said, like maybe in one-on-one sessions is perhaps thinking about like like a big move that's going to be tough in that first week, and it just kind of motivates me to build up the flexibility where I don't have it, in order to at least make progress towards doing it by the end.
Cool.
And I think other things would follow from that.
Great, sounds good. I was going to ask you one more thing, but I can't remember, sorry. If it comes back to me, yeah, I'll come back to you, sorry. All right, thanks, James.
Thanks.
Cool, all right. Let's go to Isabella. We'll get to you, Elijah, sorry. All right.
Hello. So, as everyone else, I'm grateful for my health, my mobility, but well, first of all, this call has been incredibly helpful because even though we're not spending this time working on our mobility, it's making me feel a lot better in a way that I'm not alone the past, how many weeks have been? 7 weeks now. Where it's ebbed and flowed, where commitments come and gone, but I'm not the only one, and a lot of this is extremely helpful to apply to myself, especially some of the suggestions you get given to other people. So I'm grateful for the new skills, and I hadn't been to a barbell class on a Saturday since starting AMB. And then when I was getting back down into overhead squats last week, I could feel the difference in how much more comfortable it was. So that was kind of a really great way to test how things were going for me, just out of just being busy with my new promotion. It just worked out that I could measure it that way. So not great that I haven't been really active, but it was great to see that even though I haven't been getting to the gym, I can still work on what I'm doing from my desk. And which is I've got a standing desk now, so I'm I can easily work on my ankles and my hips and things like that, and just without even leaving my desk, which is different from working from home where I'm just sedentary the entire time. So that's been great. And to get out of the last 3 weeks, I'm traveling next week for about a week and a half, so really towards the end of the entire program. And I'll be extremely busy as maid of honor in a wedding, so I'm gonna be MIA, but I'm to kind of help that, I kind of considered encouraging my friends to do active things with me while I'm there, going for walks and whatnot. I'm there for a week and a half, so I have plenty of time, and there's no really excuses to just kind of sit around all the time. I'll probably be walking or shopping or doing something active, because I know that just sitting around all the time is not good for me. And also for the next 3 weeks, what I took from the call with Taylor, which I listened to twice actually, because I just really appreciated what he has to say, and I've kind of taken that with me since I've listened to it. And it's actually helped. I just literally showing up to sessions has been a goal of mine, and it's worked. And it sounds silly, but you know, just getting myself out the front door or planning to get to a session or to the gym, even when I didn't want to, was quite helpful. So I guess how I can be helped like going forward in the next 3 weeks, kind of like suggestions of how to keep it, like how to keep it going. Like if anyone else has like traveled or like has any other suggestions, you know, I don't have kids, so I have a little bit more time for myself, but you know, it's like just sitting in a metal tube for, you know, for a day. Like how do you like come out of that, or did you learn from that basically, or would you something that you would have done differently, or you know, are you gonna sit in the airport and do like your cars while you're just like sitting around doing nothing? I don't know. So sorry, I just kept talking because I had I had a bunch of notes. I had a bunch of notes like in the order of your questions, so I just kept reading from them.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you.
So,
Okay, so yeah, when it comes to traveling, so Peter's not here tonight, but we actually did one of our sessions while he was traveling for work. So he actually blocked it out in his schedule, even though he was in London with all these meetings. He was like, I'm still going to block out this time for my session with David, even though I'm away. And yeah, we did it on Zoom in his hotel room. So yeah, that's definitely
I definitely would like to schedule that call in. Like maybe it's not at the same time that we normally do, like due to time differences and like my travel. But whatever time like suits us, like I would definitely want to keep that 1-to-1 because that would force me to at least get one session in like the entire week.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, we can definitely discuss our schedules and find something that works. And then yeah, you kind of already said some good ideas. So yeah, obviously sitting in an airplane seat for however long is not ideal for our mobility. So, you know, when the fasten seatbelt sign is off, you can even like go to the bathroom and like, I mean, hopefully if there's not a queue or something, you can like just go in there and do a few cars, or even just like walking up and down the aisle just to break up that period of sitting. And yeah, if you get to the airport early and you've got time at the terminal, you can definitely do some stretches. You could like do your couch stretch with your foot on the seats, something like that. Like when I was traveling to Turks and Caicos for the rugby and we got delayed, I was like in my 90-90 position in the airport just while we were waiting. Yeah. And I mean, it sounds like you've had like a lot of wins. So I think it'd definitely be great to hear more of those.
I'd say like really tiny wins here and there, but like not the big like one that, you know, I want, which is like to like be pain free. But it's like, yeah, just been like smaller things like, you know, noticing I'm more comfortable like in my squat, or like I said, like just showing up and like making the time, trying to adapt it to my schedule. Like I do not work well like with like putting something into my schedule and like, you know, stopping what I'm doing to like make like I just can't, like, and like waking up at 6:30 in the morning, like I already know that would like, you know, be unrealistic for me because I'm out the door like 20 minutes before I have to be. So like I'm just not a morning person. So I just have to like work that into my day, you know, over my morning coffee at my desk, my standing desk, while I like catch up on the news or on emails, like while I'm already like there and ready to go. So, but yeah, it's just been about adapting it to like my life rather than like me forcing it into my life has been really, it took me a while to figure that out. But it kind of really changed with Taylor's call, which was like, you know, just take these different steps and just be realistic about it and just like, you know, be a bit forgiving. But then, like, you know, you don't want to like tear the ass out of it. So you have to like keep yourself accountable to some certain extent.
Yeah. Well, And yeah, like I said before, like these wins are all relative, you know. Sometimes just like you said, just getting out the door can be like a monumental challenge. And then other times it can be the easiest thing in the world. So you may think like that's not a big deal. That's not like a big win. The fact that I just got out the door to go to the gym. But like I would definitely try to change your perception on that and feel good about yourself for those things. And yeah, definitely share it with us in the group.
Yeah.
Yeah, it reminds me. So like recently I've gone back to playing rugby after not playing for quite a long time. And I used to be really, really hard on myself playing rugby to the point where I just completely lost enjoyment for it. So all I could think about was, what if I make a mistake? What if I miss a tackle? What if I drop the ball? And so was just filled with so much anxiety. But one of the things that helped me was when I was watching sort of professionals play, I would make it a point of paying attention to all the mistakes that they were making. So like these are the best players in the world and they're like missing tackles and dropping the ball and missing easy kicks. So if these guys are the best in the world and they're making these mistakes, like why should I feel bad about making mistakes? So, and then you can apply that to like anywhere in your life. So yeah, like if you're not being consistent one day or one week, that happens to everyone, as you can see from the experience that everyone's shared during this call. And I think beating yourself up can sometimes be detrimental and put you in an even worse headspace where you're gonna be even less likely to turn things around. So yeah, but yeah, it sounds like you definitely know yourself and you're figuring all this stuff out. So
Definitely
well done.
figuring it out. Not sure if I know it
Yeah.
yet. Figuring it out.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's definitely a process. Yeah. So like, yeah, quickly, how can we help and how can I help these last few weeks?
Well, like, maybe like rescheduling our one-to-one. I think we might have to do that for about 2 weeks in a row due to my schedule. But like that, and I guess you've already given some like good suggestions, but I do look forward to like, getting those like wins notifications on my phone and stuff like that. And I'll try to share mine as well because like Robbie said, like it's good to have, a little bit of accountability here and there.
Yeah. And the thing is, like when you share a win, that might inspire someone else. It's not just about, feeling good about your own successes. Someone might look and say, oh, Isabella went to the gym today, but even though it was raining and she got soaking wet, but she still did her workout. Someone else will look at that and be like, if Isabella can do it, I can do it. Like I'm going,
That's how I felt the other day when I saw Elijah parking his car at FedEx, and I said, "Oh, well, we're walking through this water together."
Exactly. Yeah. All right.
Cool.
Thanks, Isabella. Cool. All right, Elijah.
Isabella, I thought it was very good motivation for you when you brought your friend to barbell. So it made you want to go, like, show up and go.
Oh, for sure. I've had this conversation.
Times,
Yeah, and it's good to have a little bit of healthy competition as well. I said she can't beat me in like the open. It's like that's what I've told myself. But it's good. Like I last Saturday, like I had like the worst week at work, and I just wanted to sleep in on a Saturday. But she messaged me like an hour before and was like, "Hey, you're gonna be there?" And I was like, oh, "Yes, I am." Even though I showed up and like, one eye was like still closed. So it's always good to have that accountability too. And to, have other people like, Elijah that like, is going through this stuff as well. So just, having that like in your space and people like in your community. So it's great.
Thanks, Isabella. All right. Thank you for your patience, Elijah. I believe
I was a little
last
late,
but not
so
least.
that's okay.
All right, so yeah, what are you grateful for?
Yeah, the same as basically everybody else, just grateful for health and um improvement. And um, I do have a little bit of pain, and usually I just kind of power through it. Um, but I know that's not going to happen forever from other people that I've talked to. So, um, yeah, just happy to start doing my mobility early rather than later. I don't have any injuries, big injuries that stop me from working out, thankfully. And I don't want to get to that point. So I'm just thankful for starting to go to CrossFit and doing the mobility and to stay injury free, hopefully.
Cool, thanks. And yeah, I've definitely seen, I mean, I've seen improvements with everyone, but with Elijah, I've seen you in more classes that I've been coaching, maybe more so than some other people. And like I said the other day, like your squat depth was so much better, and even your bar muscle ups. So I think you should definitely share those with the group.
All right.
All right. So what do you want to get out of the last 3 weeks?
Yeah, just keeping consistent, obviously, like everybody else. You know, like James, Brad, and Isabella. Well, I just started a new job as well in a completely different industry, so I didn't know what to expect. But the only thing I did keep scheduled was that I was going to try and go to CrossFit every day. And so I tried to make it a point to, if I go to the later class, then I could kind of stay around. If I ask, whoever's coaching, if I can stay for extra 15 minutes, go out the back door, because I don't really have much equipment here. So I find all the equipment at the gym is very useful, the yoga blocks and stuff. So I've tried to kind of pair it with going to CrossFit or to the gym, because that's basically one of my only commitments besides obviously my new job. And yeah, it's tough not knowing what the schedules are, not being in a high enough position to kind of do what I want if I want to, or um, knowing how long something's going to take me and all that stuff. So I've kind of tried and just hold myself accountable to be consistent with the gym, and so that's definitely helped me be consistent with my mobility. Not as consistent as I would like to be, because obviously mobility is kind of like abs, where it's like you don't really want to do it, but you should. You just want to do the workout and then, go home. But also having other people in the classes that are doing the program as well. Like the other day, Brad was doing his couch stretch, and I went over and did it with him, because you're like, well, we might as well just knock it out at the same time. When I see Melvin, I'm like, Melvin, you done your squat today? Yep, okay, I'll do that after, when I get home. Was just, yeah, like Robbie said, just those check-ins help. If I don't know if you wanted to, David, at 5 o'clock every day or something like that, just throw in or I can try and do it as well. Like, has everyone done their mobility today? Like, that sort of thing. What Robbie would
Yeah.
like. It's just one of those reminder things, because yeah, for me, literally, I sit at the computer and just next thing I know, I'm just like, okay, I haven't eaten, I haven't done this, I haven't done that. But yeah, the one thing that I have been committed to is going to the gym. Luckily, I've been
Right.
able to work around doing that. But to get out of the last 3 weeks is just keep improving. I do take a lot of videos when I do when I'm at the gym lifting and stuff. So that's also great motivation, because then you can see where you've improved and stuff like that. I think that's a really helpful tool. Posting it as well. I used to post a lot of my stuff on Instagram, and sometimes I still do. And it just motivates you to just kind of improve and keep going.
Yeah.
Obviously the CrossFit gym is not too competitive, but you can make it kind of competitive, you know? So that obviously, like Isabella said, it motivates you to kind of do better and
Yeah.
and kind of push towards that. Yeah.
Okay. It sounds to me that you should get a check-in partner, just like Brad and Robbie.
Yeah.
So anyone want to volunteer?
I'll be Elijah's partner since it seems like we're kind of on the same schedules, kind of.
All
Yeah,
right.
and like speaking of schedules, I just got a message today saying WOD tomorrow looks like a good one for my friend. I was like, shit, no, I actually have to go.
That's awesome. That's perfect.
Yeah, that is
Yeah.
perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think I could, message you guys all in Slack, every day and say, hey, has everyone done their mobility stuff? But I actually think it's more powerful if you guys are getting it from each other. It's kind of like the teacher being like, has everyone done their homework? And everyone just might roll their eyes. But then if your friend is the one who's actually messaging you, hey, like, are you going to the WOD today? That's going to be far more powerful, I think. But I will do it if you guys think it would be helpful. All right, Elijah. Yeah, I mean, we kind of covered most of the questions while you were talking there. But anything else you think I could help with, or we could help with as a group?
No, not really. Just it's the same thing for everyone, I guess. It's just keep consistent, right? It seems like all of us have been kind of working out for it long enough to know how it works. Consistency. It's just finding the time to do it. As you get busier.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much it for me.
Cool. Thanks.
Hey, David.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, I just what Elijah was saying there. I've got a question. It could be for him, for you. It could be a general question. Excuse me. And it may sound like a very, very simple thing, which is there seems to be a lot of benefit to be derived from taking videos of yourself so that you can look at your form, and then you can associate the feeling with the visual as well. So you can know when the form is correct, when you felt it was good and all that kind of stuff. But here's the simple question is what kind of equipment do you use? I mean, there's cell phones, there's GoPros, there's tripods, there's grippy things, all that kind of stuff. But what do people find is the best, most versatile equipment to use to be able to, video yourself?
4K.
I just use
4K.
my phone and a little kettlebell and just prop it up. I mean,
Oh, so you just prop it up against, and you put
and then
it somewhere where
I just face it towards me, and I just hit record, and it ends up being sometimes like a 15-minute video that I have to go back and just crop stuff out of. But there's a couple times where you told somebody that you lifted this weight or you did this, and you're like, sometimes you just wish you had it on video. And it's good to go back and look. I have videos from when I first started doing CrossFit and where I couldn't, if I would just fall over back, like straight backwards when I went to do a clean, or I couldn't even, like it's a motivation. What basically kept everybody going to the gym, right? When you first started, you see huge improvements, massive. Then you get to a point where it's like very slowly, and that's kind of where the videos come into play, where you post them on Instagram and stuff like that, and you have Brad Adley sending you emojis on your videos and stuff like that. It's just, and people see them, even though they don't comment, they still see them, and they say something to you on the street or stuff like that, or they ask you and they want to get into it as well, and and they think that you're like some superhuman person, and you're like, well, not really, but you're always doing something that somebody else can't, and
Right.
that's what you have to.
But actually, just what you mentioned, you are
Motivation for
actually
other people as well.
right. You're posting a win, really, aren't you?
Yeah.
Because other people are getting inspired by that and celebrating that as well.
Yeah.
And I also post when like sometimes I post like when I don't make the lift, as well, because some people just see you hit, doing all this stuff, but they don't ever see, nobody ever posts when they just fall over backwards after throw the barbell in front of them because
Or when
they
you
can't
hit
get
their
down to a
head,
squat.
or when you hit your head on the barbell.
Oh yeah, when I hit my forehead, Kevin, the bar
Oh,
going
jeez.
up.
Yeah.
But it's just and a lot of people have said that I have given them motivation to start doing something, and it's
Yeah.
a lot of times people forget how hard people have to work out to get to where they are, and if you constantly posting, they're like, "Geez, you're in the gym every single day," and I'm like, "Yeah, that's what that's what you have to do." Like it just doesn't come with just doing it once.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, I should start posting more in the wins channel, more than just on my Instagram when I'm there, for other people in here. So I will start doing that.
Yeah. Robbie, just to go back to your question about filming, I bought this thing. It's about, I think it costs like $35. You could probably get it cheaper online. I got it from the Gadget Shop. I think
Is that here?
Yeah, I think they moved to Queen Street now, but they were in the
Across
Washington Mall.
Yeah, where Levi's was.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, this is what it looks like, and then you just flip this out. You stick your phone in this part, and then it like gets longer, and then it's like a tripod, and you can like set it up.
Neat.
Yeah, you can set it to like a landscape or profile mode, and it even has a Bluetooth remote, but I don't use that, so that's like handy. Yeah.
Cool. Okay,
but
thanks for showing me that.
But often in the gym, like I just do what Elijah does, like just grab a kettlebell or a yoga block, and if I want a different angle, put it up on a box or something. And yeah, feel free to post videos in the mastermind channel if you want some feedback on stuff. Yeah. Cool. All right, guys. Does anyone else have any questions or comments? Okay, well, I'm just going to finish by saying what I'm grateful for, and I'm grateful for you guys. Yeah, it definitely like fills up my cup to hear from all of you and to learn from you guys and to be able to help you guys and to pass on some of the things that I've learned over the years. And yeah, that's really why I created this program, because I mean, I'm a very analytical person, and ever since I started in my fitness journey and CrossFit, I'm so consumed by like improving that I've done so much research and done all these courses, and I really enjoy sharing everything that I've learned with you guys. So I'm really grateful that you guys have invested in this course and that you're all showing up throughout these 8 weeks. And yeah, thank you so much for that. All right, guys. Yeah, we've gone on a lot longer than I expected, but that's completely fine with me. And it sounds like you guys have all learned probably more from each other than from me. So thank you all for being here and sharing with each other. And yeah, let's crush these last 3 weeks. And I'm looking forward to seeing all these wins from everybody and creating more of an upward spiral with each other. All right, thanks guys. Have a good night.
No, sounds good.
Night
Take care,
all.
everybody.